The project began with a request from the wife, a rustic farm table for outdoor dining. To avoid wasted effort, a sketch was drawn and approval sought. It's not as if the client would return a finished piece, but years of hearing about a missed vision are best avoided. Opting against anything too daring, a classic, unadorned design seemed the wisest choice. As always, the process began with milling the stock until each piece was perfectly square. The final product can only be as true as its components, making a reliable process crucial here. Quickly, the stock was brought to proper dimensions. Then came time to craft the panels. Careful selection determined which board would neighbour which, creating a panel pleasing to the eye. This step is vital for a tabletop, as it's the most visible part of the finished piece. Any knots were ensured to face downward. After marking for the dominoes, several holes were bored in each board to ensure perfect alignment. These would prove invaluable during glue-up, making the process far less nerve-wracking. A shattered small bottle necessitated pouring glue from the large container onto a brush. Not the most efficient method, admittedly. Eventually, all boards were glued and dominoed, and the panel for the tabletop took shape. This process was repeated with smaller panels for the benches. Select, domino, glue. Then began the most interesting phase, the table base. Legs more substantial than the 1-inch boards on hand were desired. Gluing them up to achieve 3-inch square legs was the solution. First, all pieces needed to be brought to proper dimension. It's always prudent to use standard measurements for furniture, so the height of an IKEA table was adopted. Gluing the pieces this way is quite practical. The joinery is pre-accomplished and one gains a free bridle joint. The space between the outer parts cradles the tenon. It's simply a board of identical dimension to the inner portion. Glue was applied, adjustments made, and clamps tightened. This was repeated for the remaining 3 legs, and the task was complete. Only drying time remained. Meanwhile, the panels were ready for final dimensioning, starting with the bench tops. A scraper removed excess glue, a rather satisfying task. Though imperfect and requiring subsequent sanding, the way the glue yields beneath the scraper with a crisp sound is quite gratifying. The same operation was performed on the tabletop. Somewhat unwieldy to maneuver, but essentially the same process. For the bench legs, remnants were glued together. Squaring the legs in preparation for joinery came next. A gentle pass on the jointer, followed by another at the table saw, did the trick. Once squared, mortises could be meticulously marked. Calipers, a fine combination square, and marking gauge proved invaluable for achieving consistent markings. The square mortiser, a favourite tool, came into play. It almost feels like cheating. The holes emerge perfectly square, and it's likely the safest tool in the workshop. Moreover, it slices through larch as if it were butter. Setting up the shaper for the tenons followed. The substantial block affixed to the shaper's arbor with its scoring blade that yields fine cuts was employed. Rails were then trimmed slightly and readied for a test fit. Indeed, it began to resemble something of substance. Tenons for the side rails were cut next, a matter of mere minutes, and it was accomplished. The beading effect on the angles of the table feet was favoured. it lends a more refined air than simple rounding, so it was applied to all four sides of all four legs. A test fit revealed everything appeared to come together as intended. The glue-up to unite all components commenced. With glue applied to the tenons, a hammer was necessary, as the glue had caused the wood to swell slightly. At last, the table base assumed its intended form. Light yet sturdy, the traditional joinery with through mortices will ensure its longevity. Swift rounding of the feet enhanced their resistance to impact. The centre was traced, a large hole drilled with a Forstner bit, followed by a smaller hole with a drill bit, and a levelling foot installed to ensure the table remains stable. Moving the table base to a more suitable location for painting, several coats of white were applied. Rounded corners for the tabletop required a small jig. A piece of MDF was cut, a circular shape traced using a roll of tape, roughly cut with the band saw, then refined at the sander to approach the line more closely. The router then rounded the corners of the tabletop. It proved effective, though a superior version will certainly be crafted in the future. Thorough sanding of the tabletop followed. While not the most entertaining of tasks, the diligent work during the milling process paid dividends, and it progressed rather swiftly. A pleasing profile was added with the router to render the tabletop more gentle on the elbows. Then came the moment to apply a tinted wax to impart shine and beauty. It bestowed a rich dark caramel hue upon the table, most appealing to the eye. With the top affixed to the base and positioned outdoors, it presented a fine appearance. The benches needed completion before supper. The sides proved too broad for the square mortiser, necessitating an alternative technique. The position of the mortise was marked, a Forstner bit secured in the drill press, and several holes bored where the mortise would be. A small jig fashioned around the tenon served as a guide for the chisel, which made quick work of properly squaring the mortise. Indeed, it fit snugly. Both sides did. The end of the tenon was marked. In the square mortise, the line was recessed by a few millimeters and a peg hole drilled. Rounding the bottom of the legs for aesthetic purposes wasn't neglected. The rounding was marked, then proceeded to the band saw and finished with the router. This proved most satisfying to observe. The entire leg received a slight round over to enhance its resistance to impacts. Glue was applied to the tenon. The peg was inserted into the peg hole, and as it was hammered into place, it drew the tenon into position. The base now stood complete and presented a pleasing appearance. To affix the top to the base, a novel approach was attempted, a through domino mortise with visible dominoes at the end. After drilling the dominoes, glue was applied to the holes and the dominoes hammered into place. The majority of the domino was removed with a saw, then refined with a chisel. Quite a mess was made with the glue, but it was of no consequence, as sanding would take care of it. Feet were affixed for stability to ensure the benches didn't rock. Finally, the benches were finished with the same wax to impart the same hue as the tabletop. And behold, the rich caramel colour emerged. They presented a satisfactory appearance and complemented the table most admirably. With this side project complete, attention could return to installing the vise, but that tale shall be recounted another time. This evening we feast on a new table,